the referral part of this business is a lot of fun. Plus, you've got customers. We live in the Washington, D.C. of the U.S. Ottawa, it's capital city. So people come in and out on a 2 to 3 year rotation. And some of those people I've looked after 3 and 4 times. I knew the first time they were holding their baby in their arms, and now we're selling their child who's 25 years old a house. And we brought them in and out a few times, and now a lot of them are calling out to a home, but it was fun to connect with other realtors and realize you're not the only nut bar. Plus, I really got to learn a lot from them, and I have a great network of friends and colleagues in Canada and the US. So I dialogue with those people a lot, but it's the customer experience that I was like, I will take care of you from the minute you land here, and there will be no excuse that you only have 5 days to buy a house. We will make sure that you find the missing piece of the puzzle and you have a wonderful experience. And on your way out, we'll do the same thing. And a lot of those people, John, will be transferred across the country and call me every time to say, Greg, now I'm transferred to this city or that city. Who do I use? On both ends. And that referral network part of me is really the foundation of my business that I really enjoy.
Welcome to the Cheplak Live podcast, where I sit down with proven, tested leaders who take you behind the curtain of their business so you can see what is really working right now and either affirm the things that you're doing that are working, or get reminded of what you need to do, or get some little nuggets. And today I'm with a longtime friend, Greg Hamre from Ottawa of the Hamre team. Greg, thanks for being here, bud.
It's a privilege, John. Always a privilege to connect with you. You energize me, and I loved your soft underbelly side. I just love it. I love your empathy. I like really how you touch people. And I've heard people say, he looks like such a tough guy. But when I talked to him, he was so real. I know he gets it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, let's jump right in. Give us kind of just a current space and time. Tell us about the Hamre team right now, how many agents, staffing, anything else you would like to share that gives people a perspective of your business today.
We're a medium-sized team in Canada with Remax. We're eight of us, all are licensed, including our marketing manager, including our admin person, Karen, who's been with me for 20 years this year. My brother's my business partner. We're very much opposites, which is great because he offsets one side and I'm the other side. I'm the marketing side. He's the back end tech guy. My daughter, Chelsea, and my son, Nick, work with me. And Chelsea's, been a real leader in the industry, and Nick's doing really well. Just sold 5 houses this week. I've got some other superstar agents, all very much team oriented people. Athletic wise, they went through university and were on teams, or they just engaged, and they get the customer experience has to be unbelievable. I always like to recruit through the restaurant business for new realtors. I like to people that understand service and how to make a memorable experience, whether they're selling a dessert at the end of the evening or upgrading on an appetizer. I need them to engage to be able to do that. And I think that selling real estate is very much selling that experience.
Super good. Take us back to the birthing of the Hamre team. You and Steve coming up and bringing this brand forward. Talk to us about that.
My mother was the pioneer, Shirley Hamre. She was one of the top female realtors in Canada for many years. Real legend and a pioneer. My father, my late father, was an entrepreneur. And if you know anything about being an entrepreneur, there's many years there's no money coming in. So my mom was a survivor and made it happen. So that it was really tough times when I was really small. When people were banging on the door, the hydro companies banging on the door to get paid, and there wasn't any money. So my mom took it to the next level. She's dynamite. And what my mom did really well was implement that you've got to play the role. You've got to look sharp. And and she still does today in her mid-70s. But if you went to the grocery store, you had to look like you were like you were a rock star selling real estate. And I picked that up. My son played hockey, a high level of hockey in Canada and the US. And I used to go to 6 a.m. Practices in a suit to watch my son, because if I didn't, people didn't think I was working. They said, "You're not working, things aren't great." And 11% of my business came from the hockey rink. for every team, not just the teams my son was on, every team. And it's still to this day, I have a lot of roots throughout Ottawa and across Canada through hockey. It's all, I'll give my son credit for that, but, and that's a lot of where his business comes from. And it's across Canada and the US.
Wow,
You got to
amazing.
look great. You got to look the part.
So 11% of your business came from the hockey rink. Your mom had established the brand, and listen, with all due credit to her, I'm a result of a mom that made it happen too when times were really, really tough. At the same time, a lot of people have been given these opportunities. Some may say handed opportunities, and yet most people fail. You had to do the work. You and Steve had to do the work. Talk about the work that you guys did. How did you get up and running, and where did you generate business from outside of 11% of it being from the hockey rink?
I come from, my background is marketing. I studied that in school. I was in the television business here in Ottawa and in Toronto corporately, looked after all of Canada. But I understand that you have to make the month, you have to make the quarter, and you have to make the year. So I budget down on, I'm a numbers guy. I want to look under the hood and know if you didn't make the month, that's okay. You've got next month to make it and the month after, but you have to make the quarter. And I'm a big, John, I like coming out of the gate strong in January. If you have a big first quarter, big January, you're setting the tempo for the rest of the year. You're going to be good. So I'm a very much a numbers guy, but I also wanted personal connection. When I first got into real estate, my mom, I came in from Toronto. My family was still there, but I came in, I go, okay, let's figure out what we're doing. She says, I'm going to a convention in Vancouver. You're coming. I was only in the business a week. I get out to the convention and I realize that there's a referral business where you can pick up the phone and call somebody. They're moving out of Ottawa or they're moving in. And I was like, no kidding. There's a business part of this real estate. It's not just putting signs out and doing open houses.
Right.
And I met one lady there. Her name is Sharon, and she worked in a military town. I got 6 referrals from her in the next year. And I was like, wow, the referral part of this business is a lot of fun. Plus, you've got customers. We live in the Washington, D.C. of the U.S. Ottawa, it's a capital city. So people come in and out on a 2 to 3 year rotation. And some of those people I've looked after 3 and 4 times. I knew the first time they were holding their baby in their arms, and now we're selling their child who's 25 years old a house. And we brought them in and out a few times, and now they're calling. A lot of them are calling out of a home. But it was fun to connect with other realtors and realize you're not the only nut bar. Plus, I really got to learn a lot from them, and I have a great network of friends and colleagues in Canada and the U.S. So I dialogue with those people a lot. But it's the customer experience that I was like, I will take care of you from the minute you land here, and there will be no excuse that you only have 5 days to buy a house. We will make sure that you find the missing piece of the puzzle and you have a wonderful experience. And on your way out, we'll do the same thing. And a lot of those people, John, will be transferred across the country and call me every time to say, Greg, now I'm transferred to this city, to that city. Who do I use? On both ends. And that referral network part of me is really the foundation of my business that I really enjoy. And I enjoy my customers.
This is good. I was talking yesterday with a group of agents, and I said, you've got to take a personal interest in humans and personally connect. It's great. So you went out to the seminar and you discover this, the convention, you discover this referral part of the business, and that's great to get a referral. But here's the one thing, and you've kind of alluded to it a little bit. Talk about what you do with intentionality and have done with intentionality over the years from a marketing and a communication standpoint, because I think there's a really good lesson for those that are, and there's nothing wrong with it, very profitable business, that are spending a lot of money on leads and everything's based on leads, but then their referral repeat business is minuscule. And so they have to keep spending and spending. What have you guys done as an organization to stay in connection, to take a personal interest in these customers so that they keep sending you business and doing business with you?
You will always allude to empathy, John, and I love that, and I love when you pull that out, and I think that's so important. I stay in contact with 3,000 realtors across Canada and the US on a yearly basis, probably touch them twice. And the real superstars in that neighborhood, I pick up the phone and I call them to have a real conversation about them. Or I send them a text that has empathy in it. We just did a program this week where we have a home show coming in the city. So everybody gets it. It's every year. But and in the past, usually we just send a note out and it would be with our branding plastered all over the envelope. And then after listening to you talked about the yellow envelope. I'm like, let's take our branding off the envelope and see what the retention is like. Then we would one year we wrote sticky notes. So we put a sticky note on everyone. Dear Bob and Sue, enjoy the show. Greg, boom, put that in. This year, I said, guys, I want everybody to pick 100 customers. And I want you to write their envelopes, write them a little, enjoy the show, put that in. And I want you to text every one of those people an individual text, not a mass text, not an automated text, a personal text. How are the kids? How's the lake view that you have now? How's living downtown? What's the skyline? Does it ever get a real text? 100 people, 100 texts. And I got to tell you, like I'm some of those people I haven't talked to in 10 years, like on text. So I had to, is this still your text number? I massage my database. I send the text out. I'm going reply text for 5 days. I just had this meeting with my team this morning and I said, what was your feedback? They're like, oh my God, how many dialogues did you have back and forth? Some up to 10, average of 4. Do you think they feel empathy? Do you think they have automatic dialogue? And some of those people, I got to be admit to you, I haven't talked to via text. I talked to one customer, I sold him 20 years ago. First time I'd ever texted him. Can you feel it, man? I can feel it. Like there was love there. They are still thinking, Greg still thinks I'm his client. I still have empathy. And I learned a lot this week. Those empathy, and I know you always talked about it, John. Reach out to text, reach out to phone call. Yeah, but they're too busy. They're not. And the text, if you get an automated text from somebody,
there you go.
You get an empathetic text. I know it's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Put 2 tickets in here. If you're there, I'd love to see you. Let's meet up for a coffee sometime. And then, you know what, Greg, the kids are growing up. And I got my team doing that. You know, I'm also a leader that if you're going to ask someone to do something, you better do it yourself. And that was really enjoyable.
Do you ever see it? Because how many people you guys have on your team right now that are selling? Well, what would you say? There's 10?
No, 6.
6 of you. There's 6 of you and you're selling, yet let me ask you this. This is because so many people get caught up in oh my gosh, I'm going to build this team and I'm getting out of sales, and it's all personal preference. But you know, you personally are in sales, and would it be fair to say that the day that you stop selling real estate will probably be the day that you're done? Or do you see yourself ever moving out of sales and just operating the business?
I think my kids will probably put me out to pasture. But you know, 60% of the buyers coming to Ottawa are millennials. They're younger. My clients are 55 plus. My Karen, who's been with me, can back me on that because she's in her 50s and she speaks my language, and she's my admin person. She is licensed. She is my backup person for my clients. So if I can't deal with them, she'll look after them. But my client, I'm in retirement villages every week. Okay, my clients are older. They're not repeating, right? They're one way, they're going out and they're not coming back. So my database will get smaller. I deal with a lot of estate stuff though. It's big for me. So the kids are calling me going, Mom and Dad said to call you. I've had it in a will where I was told to be mentioned. I just unfortunately had a client of mine assisted. He passed, wasn't great. There was a note on the table, call Greg to sell the house. That happens. That's my kind of database. I don't want to hand that off yet. There was empathy there. The guy was in heaven looking down at me going, I know he'll do the job.
So are you personally taking any leads at all? Or are you 100% working your big book of business, your sphere of influence?
Only my book.
That's so good.
Only my book. Yeah.
Good.
But and you know what? Something you're like, you're not still using Dad's guy, are you? You know, and some of those moms will call me up and go, you know what? My kids really jive with your kids. They're following them on social media, or my team. You mind if one of those? Oh, absolutely. You don't want to deal with me. I don't speak that language. We've nurtured our team, so we've really got that first time home buyer, that middle step up buyer is looked after, and with someone that speaks their language. And then the 55 plus, the estate, the retirement, sell mom and dad's house. I'm already in there. That's my customer, and I really enjoy that. I don't want to hand them off. That means something to me.
So anyone watching this or listening to this might think, oh, well, this is the old school, and I'm progressive and I'm leveraged. But a couple things that Greg pointed out is that Greg did not leverage himself out of relationships. He is taking, his children who are coming into the business, and he's showing them that the old school way of personal connection really, really works. But with that said, let's go back to, I would call it innovative. I think doing video is still innovative because so many people are afraid of it. I mean, my goodness, we've been in rooms for 10 plus years about it. Here's what I'd say though, although you've worked this personal sphere of influence and repeat referral, and you're deep in the community, you guys really made a commitment. How many years ago did you guys make the commitment to video? It's talked about so loosely. Yet if people go back historically and take a look at your YouTube channel and your social media, you guys have been consistent and disciplined and committed to it. How long ago did you guys make that commitment, and how important has that been to this day?
We started doing video in 2009. And I remember the first video, I went, this is terrible. And Karen, who was in my office, and I love her dearly, said, no, just put it out there. And we did. And nobody was talking about video for another 10 years. We did video. On every listing, we do video. It changed the game for us, and it changed our brand. People know our voice. They know you. I can't tell you about video. You get it. That's since 2009. I can't say you got to do video now, because if you're not doing video, like, are you kidding me? It's people want to hear your voice. They want to see your eyes. They want to know your mannerism, and that really helps me, because the only people that are calling me are people that love me, and that's always been my motto. They get to preview me ahead of time, and if they're not for me, if they don't think I'm for them, they don't call me. Great. I don't have the time. I don't have to waste the time. But for me, it's the voice. And my clientele doesn't necessarily press like. But when you're sitting, and I was sitting in a retirement village, a guy that I sold to him and his wife, their last home, and they moved into the retirement village this week. I stopped in for coffee, and he goes, Greg, and he was a coach kind of guy at YMCA in Canada. He goes, just keep doing your videos. There's so much content in them. And believe me, this guy's never buying another house from me. He's in an old age home. I just want to have a coffee with him because I love him. I love the family. She's on her deathbed, unfortunately, but he's encouraging me. And I was like, I went in to have a coffee to make sure he was doing okay. I left there walking off the ground this high, and he's telling me, coaching me, going, keep doing your videos. I've never seen him like it. I didn't even know he followed me. The guy's 85 years old. You gotta be, the more time people spend with you on social, the more they listen to you, the more they see your brand, the more they see your mannerism, the more they like you. That's another brick in the foundation. That's where I exist.
It's the simple stuff, the super simple stuff. Talk about, because I think it's really interesting for people to not only connect with what they're hearing that you're doing, what has worked, but also the trajectory of business, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, because a lot of people are having a real tough experience with their business. Talk about where your guys' business went. I think 2022 to 2023 really talks a lot about leadership. How did your guys' business do from 2022 to 2023?
Well, everybody in the first quarter of 2022 got a team jacket, like just something sporty that you can run down the road with. And on the side, it says triple first quarter, because we tripled our business. And we've had lots of months since then where we've doubled our business and we're growing. We never slowed down. When COVID hit, we called you, John. We need to talk to you on a regular basis. We got engaged. We looked under the hood, And I think we're in pretty, the last mile of any race is always the hardest. And that's an old cliche, but man, I can feel it right now because I can't tell you where the market is right now because there's things coming in from all over. Triple up, multiple sales, nothing going through, nobody going through the door. Everybody was a lineup, nobody threw an open house. There were 25 people. Like it's not consistent. And I think, we need interest rates to drop and we need them to drop soon. I think this last mile of the race is painful, but it's also a time. This is when I always study the business and I look under the hood. And right now we're looking under the hood. We had a conversation this week. I'm not happy. Like, let's go. I don't want to be par. I want to grow our business. And I think the next 5 years are going to be really exciting. I think this is going to be a back-ended year, but I want my unfair share right now. And that is
of course.
First quarter. I will not miss it. Okay.
So everyone knows, so you grew from 2022 to 2023. You guys grew your business last year, correct?
Absolutely. In dollars and units.
In dollars and units. You bet. Yeah. And right now, where you're at the recording of this first quarter, you're about at par and you're looking under the hood, inspecting, looking at the business. Where do you see the greatest opportunities right now? What are some of the things that you're seeing as you analyze the business and that you're looking at, and also you would suggest for others to take a closer look at?
I want a richer mix. So I want a higher sales price than the average sale price. I'm trying to talk to that luxury market, that higher end market. I want to make sure we've got our buyer agents are running like nonstop and really good, but I want more listings. I want more listings right now. And I want to take those listings to the next level. I want to use the listing. I don't want the listing using me, just like my brand. I'm using the brand. I'm not letting the brand use me. So I want to make sure we're using everything that we have as for promotion to make sure our brand is out there, that this is what we sell. We have a $2 million listing. We got a $3 million. I picked one up yesterday, 1.9 million. I'm going to pound that. Those ones are getting extra media exposure, but I've got to make sure my brand is in every post. I've got to make sure they can see my eyeballs. They know what I'm doing. I also want to make sure people know I'm in the community. I'm really trying to evolve that I'm not just, it's not just all real estate. I am in the community. I know the sense of it. Here's what I'm enjoying in the community. Here's what I like about it. Here's why you want to live here. Here's why I would be a good fit for you, because you maybe have similar tastes or we'd like to hang. If I ever had time to hang with you, we'd like to hang, like go out. Like, it would be wonderful if I had time. And I'm trying to make more time for that. I am doing more one-on-one. We're going out for dinner Friday night. And I'm bringing a client couple, which I never did before. It was always just trying to spend time with my wife or our friends. Now I'm trying to incorporate more. And I wish I had more time to be friends with you.
Yeah, right. That one thing time. You and Steve built the business, your mother, and then you and Steve really built on top of it, took the action. You had this referral-based business, and then it's okay. Well, let's bring my daughter in. How old was Chelsea when you decided to have her jump in the business, and talk about it? I mean, it can be tough. I remember for me coming in under my mom, and how old was she, and how did you develop her? You're being a dad, but also being a leader. And then the final piece, share people the trajectory of her business and why.
She was 22 years old. She was a graduate at Ottawa University. She worked in the banking business, where she made a name for herself. She was very much out there. She was a good athlete in swimming, but she had a guidance counselor say, you got to take drama in school. You got to get out there. And she got out there. And when she went to university, she led the whatever group was that she was there. So she was out there. She came in and inspired us. She was like, oh my gosh, we got to take this to the next level. She's not one to be quiet in the room either. She's like, you guys got to do this. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So, and then we hired more people like Chelsea, because they wanted to come to our team to be like Chelsea. And even my son, very different people do different. They wanted to come And so I brought a lot of youth in that wanted to be like her. So she's been a great addition for us, for people that want to be, but she inspired us to go, we got to take this business to the next level. We're not winding it down. We got to make sure that our foundation is solid, that when the next group coming through, it's in place for them, and it's organized and it's rolling. She has been dynamite. She's been a top 30 under 30 probably since in the first 24 months of her years. And a lot of that was thanks to you, John, and guidance. But we nurtured her. So when my kids were younger, I used to give them books on hospitality. On here's the CEO of Disney. Here's what he wants. I want that experience to be. And they would always hear me at restaurants and stuff going, they could do so much better if they just did this. And they both were both my kids were in the service business. And my son was the personal waiter for Toby, who owns Shopify, and that's a big company here in Canada, around the world. But he personally dealt with him. Okay, so I would say, and he worked at his resort, and I said, Nick, make sure they know your name. So when you go to a table, hi, my name is Nick. So, and it would say that. So my wife and I were reading the testimonials. Back then and it's kind of a cottage town resort. And all the feedback, right? And the only waiter mentioned in the book was Nick, page after page after page. And I just mentioned that, guys, it's so easy. And by the way, everybody wants to hear their name. Do you like hearing your name? Yeah. So the customer wants to hear their name. So when you know that their name is Bob and Sue, you gotta, and if my secret is, how do you spell that? And he goes, it's Bob, B-O-B, just making sure. But it allows me to, and I just taught them little secrets like that, guys. We're in the hospitality business here. You can go out and buy a house from anybody. We want it to be a magical experience, a memorable experience. And Chelsea and the rest of my team get that. This is not about transactions. This is about relationships. This is about you become their realtor. And everybody wants that. But how do you do it? And Chelsea, you can see it in her videos. She's consistent. She's very inviting. She attracts a big audience. And she's been on stage all over Canada and the US, even just this year. I just had another request in April. I'm like, I'm not pulling her off the road in April. Forget it.
I put her on my stage. I'll tell you, she's remarkable. What's she do? About 50 transactions a year, roughly. Is that where she's
plus,
at?
Yeah. She's probably more 65.
Transactions.
Plus, but she never stops. Like I was at a hockey game this week. She had a client there that sent her 2 referrals, who's in the military. She's taken them in the best seats. She's dropping off bottles of champagne. She just had the Veuve Clicquot bottle case branded, and she drops that off. Like she drops her little stuff that she drops off. Her personal notes have so much empathy in them, so much thought, so much details. When she does an open house, people don't leave the open house. Like everybody gathers. And her open houses she shows up a half an hour before that, bakes cookies, makes these gift bags. The customer, I just dropped in at one a couple Sundays ago. The smell. And they're going, oh, does it smell good? Yeah. Did you try them? And I'm trying not to eat cookies, but I couldn't resist. And then the clients at the end go, by the way, thank you for leaving a half a dozen cookies, by the way. It mustn't have been a great open house. There's so many cookies left. No, we had a great showing. There were 20, we baked 25 cookies, and simple. No secret. She goes to the grocery, buys the frozen pre-done cookie dough, cuts it up on a $1 throwaway tin pan with some parchment paper. The house smells wonderful. Sends it off in a gift bag with it, with a cookie inside. I mean, go to any other open house. Which one are you going to remember? It's just
and I love what you're pointing out. And again, I want to come back to this, Greg, because we've become so transactional and leveraged. And the one theme I want everyone to hear, it goes back to your mom and you and Steve and now Chelsea, is that everything they do is experiential and relational. Because when you start talking about empathy is certainly empathy is a skill set that you need in leadership. It's a skill set that you need in sales. But what you guys are doing is you're doing so much that you practically don't have to sell people. mean, they are magnetized to an experience and the relationship you guys build.
Honestly, John, but that empathy word never hit I never understood it as much until you taught me about it and you coached me on it. And I'm not trying to shine your boots here, but that's how I treat my team as well. I have to have empathy to them. We have meetings every morning at 8:30 via Zoom every morning. They asked for it after COVID, and they said we want to continue this. And lots of those meetings, I'll come out and I'll have a whole menu of blah 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 blah. I'm looking under the hood. You guys talk.
How many and how long is that meeting each morning?
30 minutes. 30 minutes, half hour.
30 minutes. And what do you cover in that? I mean, some people will, oh, my agents don't want to meet that often. And okay, fine, that works. And then others are, no, we do a 10-minute, 15-minute. So what I want everyone to hear is Greg has his team together for a 30-minute meeting. What do you do each morning? What is your objective in that meeting each morning?
The requirement is you have to be dressed. You have to be showered, shaved, dressed like you're going out the door. Like the $1 million customer is walking in right after a meeting. You got to be ready.
With your camera on.
Camera on. Yep. Camera on, dressed for success, ready. 8:30, and it's non-negotiable. Unless we have a certain level, and if you reach that level, it's our President's Club. Fridays is optional. Nobody misses their meetings. Okay. And in those meetings, it's like, okay, what happened last night? A lot of it is what happened. How many offers did we run? Did we show any houses? How did the offer presentations go? What was the response? Did you list something so that everybody is engaged? So you can tell me the average agent doesn't show a house a week. My guys know exactly what happened in the last 24 hours on what the market's like. They have a real sense of the pulse. So when they're sitting in front of us, what's the market like? Well, we just sold 3 houses last night. One of them had multiple offers. The other one, we showed 10 houses yesterday. 60% of them were real stinkers. They weren't ready for the market. The other ones were priced above, below. They have a sense of the market. Then the next day meeting may be empathy. Maybe like, tell me what was a win for you. Tell me what you learned this week. We've incorporated that once a week we'll do an in-office training with a healthy lunch. And that's working too. So I want you to come in. I want you to see, and that gets a little more dialogue. The healthy lunch, everybody's around the table, creates more of a open dialogue, collaboration. I think you have to, I'm not this team thing for me is less than, bigger teams is less than 10 years. It's the biggest we've ever been. So I'm learning as I go, but I'm listening to other teams. But I think that collaboration is big. That's the word that I'm kind of focused on this year, making sure I got dialogue, making sure everybody feels important. I don't want anybody being left behind, but I want you to know the pulse of the market. If we can squeeze some extra money out for a buyer, if we can hold for a seller, do we need to panic? What are we doing? What's marketing for?
You keep them crisp. Well, I think the key thing for people to hear is that it's your capability to get people up and running, because one of the things that if you all recall in watching or listening, that Greg said early on was his son had just recently sold 5 homes. When did your son, and he's a new agent, when did your son come into the business and get licensed? When was that?
He came in the business for a year and worked with our marketing. People kind of got a sense of it. He'd been gone for 10 years in the U.S. playing hockey. Right. Comes in, we got to take him out of the college years to the business years, and I'm still trying to be dad. And
us boys take a little longer, Greg.
I got to be patient. It's been in the business now a year, and great. A lot of his business was really quick, and it's all hockey related. Then he's nurturing the leads and stuff a little bit later, and he did a great video this week that talked about, it's timing. It's not necessarily going to happen right away. And all of a sudden, 5 deals happened for him in 1 week. Some of those customers have been working with us for 6 months. Some, and 5 sounds really sexy, right? But it's months.
Really good for him. It's months and months. It's kind of like Joe Burrow. He was a QB for LSU, national champion, and NFL guy for the Bengals. He said, and you've heard this from many pro athletes. I play the game on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, And then Saturday, when he was in college, Saturday, I'm just on autopilot, And so what your son captured, and he knows that as an athlete, is you just keep doing the work, keep doing the work, keep doing the work. He understands the process. And I think so many people abandon the process. In that small little team, how many homes did you guys sell last year?
We're around the 250 mark is our number.
So I want you guys to hear this. 6 team members, keeping in mind that Nick, his son, came on last year, so he was getting up and running, and then Karen, who also does admin work that
Yeah.
you're counting as a licensed agent, and then Leaf, who also does marketing, you're counting as an agent. So I want you guys to hear this per person productivity that has taken place in the environment and what they are doing to make it happen. I wrote this down. It's and you guys are very progressive from your CRM activity, your marketing that you do. You're doing radio, you're doing you've done some billboard stuff, but I think the thing that's pretty neat is old school is the new school. You have not let go of that.
Yeah, no. We've got we have two other superstars that I haven't mentioned. Mel is a graduate of
Oh
Auto.
yeah, Mel too.
Superstar. Actually, she's a #1 agent we have this year right now.
We'll talk about this. I want people. Let's go here. With all due respect to she was somewhere else, and hey, that's fine. Where was her business at when she was with another organization? And then what was her first 12 months like with you? And why do you think that is?
She was a biochemist graduate, Ottawa U, not far from here. Went
I
and
didn't
joined
know that. Wow.
Yeah, and never graduated and went right into real estate. Very smart, and very, very quiet in the room, but she works really hard and she understands customer experience. And much like Jacob too, who came from the US NCAA baseball player, both of them started at the same time. Both of them. Jacob took a little longer. She dives right into it. She had an advantage though, because she worked for another team in our city as an admin person for a year.
Oh, she was admin at another team.
Admin. So she walked in. So the learning curve, I had to teach her how to sell all that stuff, but the learning curve about the business and the paperwork came easy.
Mm-hmm.
Both very different people, both superstars, but I had to be patient. And you helped me out with that, John. Because I'm like, John, what's going on? Because Greg, if you do 12 deals, look at the money. I'm like, yeah, but I'm looking for 25 deals. Like,
yeah, hey, Greg, 12 deals is 7, 8, 9, 10 million. Are you okay with that?
That's not our appetite. Yeah, so you were very good with me on that. Mel I was really fortunate because Mel is a very much like Chelsea. They're very much the same age. They have the same style. So Chelsea was able to mentor her and cut me a little bit of slack in the learning curve. Those two really have about the same level of performance, high level of customer interaction, and very organized, extremely organized. 5 a.m. I'm hearing from them. They're in our meeting. They've already had a full, they've been to the gym. They're already worked out and everything. They're very organized. They're very, very driven. Mel just said to me the other day, Greg, you changed my life. I had an old beater car at the time, and I was living with my mom and dad. I think she's getting married. She's moving in with her boyfriend to a $850,000 beautiful home that I think she stole. It's worth $1 million. I think she stole it. She saw it was an opportunity, and she goes, I would have never had that opportunity to be where I am today if you hadn't walked me through. And she's very coachable, like very coachable. I could call her up and I just, I get so much energy from these guys, and they're so cool. Jacob just goes, I just had a wonderful weekend. What do you mean? Well, I had three. I thought you were going to sell 3 houses. Oh, I sold 1. And that's 30% in baseball. That's what he studied. That's what he played in NCAA. He goes, you're an all-star if you're in the Hall of Fame if you're at 30%. I'm like, and he's pumped. And I'm like, dude, that is good. He's feeling good about himself. That's what he needs to be. I'm thinking he should have scored 100. He's like, no, Greg, you're looking at it wrong. 30%. I'm a Hall of Famer in baseball, in the NBA, whatever that league is. NCAA, what?
That's right, a Canadian, the
Right.
MLB.
MLB. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I mean, these guys are inspiring me, John. I'm learning a lot from them. It's great to have youth. I don't want them to beat me in social media, so I'm studying that too to make sure I'm on top of things, and it's a fun atmosphere.
Really good. Let's wrap in this space right here because it's where we're at, and you've talked about it a little bit, looking under the hood, and certainly we continue to discover things. I think success and money can hide mistakes, right? Things are going really, really good, and okay, great. You guys are still successful. You're flat with last year. You're not behind, which is a great accomplishment because most people are behind from last year. So congratulations there. But that's not satisfactory to you, and it's not satisfactory to the agents on your team because they joined you for one reason. Your desire for excellence personally is something each one of them is magnetized to. So far, and as we've had some conversations too in the last couple of weeks, where do you think the greatest opportunity is now for the Hamre team? Looking at the current marketplace, the unpredictability. I love what you're saying. It's like people ask me all the time. I say, listen, I hear this over there, and then I hear crazy things over here. It's unpredictable. But what would you say is the number one thing that you're focused on over the next only 3 quarters left? I mean, one's gone. Where would you say the Hamre team's focus is, your leadership is focused, and where the greatest opportunities are for your team, which in turn are going to be the same opportunities for everyone else out there?
Player retention, answer the phone, answer the leads, text. Like, let's not drop the customer.
Mm-hmm.
When we get a double down right now, I'm like, guys, double down on making sure we don't drop the ball on any opportunity that comes our way.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to lose a customer. I don't want to lose one that's already in our database. That's a foundation customer for us, and I don't want to lose a new opportunity because we didn't answer the phone, we didn't follow up on the lead, we didn't take it out. And then on marketing our property, I got to make sure our brand is visible in all of our marketing, pushing it out there. We're looking at digital marketing, more digital marketing. I saw some of the stuff that the company we're dealing with is working on, and I'm like, that is not marketing to me. Like, blow that up. We got to have our brand there. If they look at it at the corner of the eye, and for half a second that day, I was able to remind them that we are realtors in their city. That's what I want. Our branding has to be visible.
Really, really good. Well, I will point this out before we wrap here. What I hope you've all captured is not just because it's something that Greg is studied, but if you look at most highly successful teams, the leader is typically the marketing director. You can put someone into that position and call them the marketing director. But what's really, really important, and Greg has this, and I've been fortunate enough to watch this and ride along, is you as the team leader, you've got that pulse. You've got the pulse of what the consumer is responding to, what they're not responding to, what you need to communicate to them, and what you don't need to communicate to them. And that's that empathy and personal connection. But what Greg's talking about is how they then marry the offline experience, the old school, which they do so well. I mean, I don't know, 6 agents doing 250 homes. That works really well, but you've got to marry that to the online world, which you guys do a really, really good job of. So, well, I'm excited to see. I know you, I know your team, and I know that coming into a marketplace that you guys are in and navigating through it, you're going to have a great 2024. And I look forward to seeing how it all turns out for you guys. So thanks for your time, Greg. I appreciate you, brother.
My privilege. Thank you, John. Always an honor to connect with you.